Illinois versus Purdue off the basketball court.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name is Sunny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the beloved. This information costs you absolutely nothing. The only thing I ask in return is if you can make sure you've hit the like button on this video. Promise it's a very good one. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel and share it with your other Illini friends. It's my goal to build this community up to at least 5,000 subs by the football season, which it's August 29th. We kick it off Friday night against Western Illinois. So if you can help me in that regard, I would sincerely appreciate it. Today's episode's we're going to talk a little recruiting. We're going to talk a little football recruiting a little bit later. I know there's a commit that happened on Monday, but I'm waiting on another commit. Hint. Once that happens, I think I'm going to talk about both at the very same time. So I wanted to talk to Illinois fans about a recruiting battle that we find ourselves in, because it's a big one. Literally, a 7'3", 240-pound Italian big man is quickly becoming one of the hottest names in European basketball recruiting circles. And Illinois has been on him very early. His name, Luigi Suigo. I've talked about him a couple times already on this here show. But just when we thought Illinois had a clear runway, enter Purdue. The Boilermakers, long considered the kings of recruiting giants, have officially entered the chat. Swiggo is set to visit West Lafayette on June 16th after making a previous February trip to Champaign. So today, we're deep diving into this developing situation. Who is Luigi Suigo? Why are both programs all in? And what this recruitment, this tug of war, means for the Illini, and ultimately why I still think Illinois is in the top spot despite the late incoming from Purdue. Let's start with the man himself. Luigi Swiggo is a 2007 born prospect from Tredate, Italy. He plays in the prestigious Olimpia Milano system, the same club that developed legends like Danilo Gallinari and Andrea Bardani. And he's already made appearances with their senior team at just 17 years old. Standing at 7'3" with a reported 7'5" wingspan, Swiggo isn't just a big. He's skilled, he's mobile, he's comfortable with the ball in his hands, and has a legitimate shooting touch from beyond the arc. In Italy's under-20 next-gen league, he's putting up 9.1 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, and 2.1 blocks a game, while shooting 35% from three. Keep in mind, he's 7'3". This isn't your typical back to the basket big. He's a modern stretch five with defensive instincts and absolutely a lot of room to grow. His international resume is solid too. At least in summer's FIBA Under-17 World Cup, Luigo helped Italy to a silver medal, averaging 7 points and almost 7 rebounds a game. He followed that up with a strong performance at the Under-18 Eurobasket. Bottom line, he's one of the best European big men, period. Now let's talk Illinois' involvement. Illinois deserves real credit for getting in on this one very early. Assistant coach Jeff Alexander made multiple trips to Europe and identified Swiggo before most Blue Bloods even knew the name. Swiggo visited Champaign in February, and it wasn't just a casual campus walk around. The staff went all in and gave him the absolute full experience. He watched current Illini center Tomislav Ivicic stretch the floor and protect the rim, exactly the kind of role we want Swiggo to step into. He saw Kofi Coburn, one of the Illinois' most dominant big men ever, honored during the game. And more importantly, Swiggo got a firsthand look at what it means to be a part of Illinois' international pipeline. This is no longer a novelty act by Brad Underwood and his staff. Illinois is building a brand overseas. Just look at the roster. Tomislav and Zvonimir Ivicic from Croatia, David Mirkovic from Montenegro, Mihajlo Petrovic from Serbia, and of course, former Barcelona product Kaspars Jakushonis. The Illini are earning trust from European families, agents, and club coaches, and Swiggo and his family have to take notice. Enter Purdue. Of course, nothing is ever easy being in Big Ten recruiting. And when it comes to big men, no one has more of an intimidating track than Purdue. Think about it. Zach Edey just won National Player of the Year and led them to the title game just 2 years ago. Before Edey, there was Isaac Haas, AJ Hammonds, Matt Harms. The Purdue Boilermakers have a little assembly line of 7-footers. Now, Swiggo is scheduled to visit Purdue on June 16th, and the timing couldn't be more strategic. Illinois made the first impression, but Purdue's going to try and make the last one. They'll roll out the red carpet, show him what Edey became under Matt Painter, and pitch him on being the next great legacy center in West Lafayette. And you know what? If we're being honest here, it's going to be a very compelling pitch. Purdue, for all its faults, they know how to develop bigs. They know how to use them. But here's the thing. Swiggo isn't Edey. He's not a slow-footed, back-you-down type of center. He's skilled, face-up, fluid. In many ways, I would argue his game mirrors more Ivicic than it mirrors Zach Edey. And that's where I think Illinois all of a sudden can have a real edge. First, Illinois has already hosted Swiggo. That matters. The in-person visit to Champaign allowed Swiggo to see the culture, meet the staff, interact with the players, and visualize in front of him what his role could be. And that fit at Illinois, I honestly think could be perfect. He'd be stepping into a system designed for his skill set. Illinois uses bigs in pick and rolls, gives them freedom to shoot, and emphasizes mobility and spacing. If Swiggo wants to play more in the NBA, and let's be honest, what kid doesn't, I think Illinois is offering a path that aligns with the modern pro game. Second, the European connection is real. The Illini have proven that they're not just taking international players, they're helping them succeed. Swiggo wouldn't be the only European voice in that locker room. In fact, he'd be a part of a group, a community, a movement. And that matters when you're 18, thousands of miles from home. And lastly, there's trust. Swiggo has already spent time with assistant coach Jeff Alexander, who has been scouting him internationally. There's a strong, long relationship there. And from all reports, Illinois has been nothing but transparent, proactive, and supportive. Look, this is far from over. Duke and Kansas, and I believe even Kentucky, have also reportedly poked around. Louisville and Texas A&M are keeping tabs. Swiggo isn't arriving to the U.S. until 2026, so there's plenty of time for twists and turns. But Illinois is in this race for real, and they're in a strong position. Purdue's going to make their push, and the Blue Bloods are going to flirt. But if the Illini can keep building on this relationship, keep showing him the vision, and leaning on that international credibility they've worked on, there's a very real chance that I think Luigi Suigo still will decide to call Champaign his home in 2 years. And if that happens, watch out, because pairing Swiggo with the new European core could take Illinois from national relevance to all of a sudden international dominance. Let me know your thoughts on Luigi. Are you as concerned as I am? Look, do I feel great about it? No. When Purdue has a chance to nab a giant 7'1" guy, and Luigi obviously 7'3", they have a very strong track record. But I'm curious, have you guys watched his game? Do you agree with me and the staff that he could basically slide into that center spot once Ivicic is ready to move on to the next level? I'm very curious on your thoughts. Let me know. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. And with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. The NBA Finals are happening right now. Oklahoma City are strong favorites. I think they were plus 500 to win the series when I checked a couple days ago. The Indiana Pacers, though, I'm telling you, I just have a sort of Dallas Mavericks, Dirk Nowitzki versus the big three, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Heat. I have that kind of vibe from the Indiana Pacers. Could they really be the team of the destiny? I don't know, but I think it's worth looking at. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. I said in the opening that I was waiting for another commitment to happen, and it happens as I'm recording this episode. Nelson Wheeler, Nebraska running back, had committed to the Illini. I'm going to talk more in depth about both Nelson and Will Vala, who committed on Monday. I'll do that on tomorrow's episode. I just wanted to share this news because you're probably going to be, when you're watching this, wondering, hey, there were 2 commitments. Why didn't Sonny talk about it? It's because the second one, which I was waiting on, happened while I was sitting here recording this very episode. The joys of being a content creator. But regardless, I think I have another fairly large story to talk about, which I think is quite important in the world of the NCAA sports. It's official. The NCAA just stepped into a new era. After decades of holding on to the amateur model, a federal judge has approved the House versus NCAA settlement, clearing the way for schools to directly pay athletes. This isn't just a headline. It's a seismic shift that will impact every corner of college athletics, including right here in Champaign. So right now we're going to break it down, what it means on a national level, and then we'll zero in on how it could change the game for Illinois from football to basketball and beyond. First off, let's talk about the settlement. The numbers are staggering. Under the settlement, the NCAA and its Power 5 conferences will pay nearly $2.8 billion, billion, not million, billion in back pay to athletes who competed at the Division I level from 2016 onward. That's right. Again, billion with a B. This is financial compensation for years when athletes were restricted from earning money off their name, image, and likeness. But the headlines that everyone is talking about, starting July 1st, 2025, schools can directly pay their athletes up to $20.5 million a year. And it's all coming from the athletic department budgets. That number isn't static. It's set to rise by about 4% annually, potentially reaching $30 to $33 million per year by the end of the 10-year deal. Now, let's be clear. These payments are in addition to scholarships and NIL deals made with third parties. So for the first time, schools can essentially operate like professional franchises, paying players salaries within a structured cap system. But here's where things get a little complicated. With this new freedom comes a whole new level of responsibility. To manage it all, a brand new college sports commission is being created, an independent watchdog that will oversee NIL enforcement, compliance, and ensure fair market value on all deals. They've already brought in Brian Seeley, a former MLB executive, as CEO of the commission. On top of that, the NCAA is scrapping the entire old scholarship limit model and replacing them with roster caps. The idea here is to prevent schools from stockpiling athletes just because they can afford it. Schools have until July 6th to designate athletes who remain above roster limits. But By December 1st, every sport must be roster compliant unless otherwise exempted. And booster involvement, that's getting a serious crackdown. Any NIL deal involving a booster must now pass a business purpose test. No more thinly veiled recruiting bounties. So who's really going to benefit the most from this? The answer isn't all that surprising. Projections suggest about 75% of this new compensation pool will go to football, another 15% to men's basketball, just 5% to women's basketball, and a final 5% to all the other sports combined. That's a massive tilt towards revenue-generating programs. And while it's being celebrated as a win for athletes' rights, and technically it is, there are real concerns that some non-revenue sports might see funding cuts or a roster shrinkage to help balance the book. Programs are going to have tough choices to make, and that's the reality. And that's something I've discussed here on a previous episode of Locked on Illini. So let's bring it home. For the University of Illinois, this isn't just about keeping up. It's about competing in the new college sports economy. Under Brett Bielema, the football program has made huge strides, especially on the recruiting front. He's built a culture that develops three-star guys into NFL draft picks. And now, with direct payments coming, Illinois has a new tool to keep the top in-state talent from bolting to the Michigans, the Notre Dames, or the SECs. But here's the twist. It also kind of raises the stakes. If Illinois wants to attract and retain top recruits, they're going to have to be financially competitive. That means allocating a major portion of that $20.5 million towards football. It also means investing in compliance staff, legal infrastructure, NIL strategy, just to keep pace with the other big boys in both the Big Ten and nationally. And we all know, for the most part, when it comes to the fan base of the University of Illinois, most of you are basketball fans who are just now starting to pay attention to football. So with all the attention that football is about to get financially, very curious to see how the Illini fan base is going to handle that. Let's talk about basketball. Obviously, Brad Underwood has fully embraced the international recruiting strategy, bringing in guys like Mihailo Petrovic, David Mirkovic, Tomislav, and Zvonimir Ivisic. International talent is a huge part of the roster building philosophy. We just talked about last week how Brad Underwood's Balkan pipeline is one of the most valuable assets that Illinois has. But if policy or bureaucracy gets in the way, it could affect the roster depth, scholarships, and now the revenue allocation. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. What happens to the other sports? We're talking baseball, golf, track, wrestling, swimming, sports that don't bring in big money but matter deeply to the culture and identity of Illinois athletics. With 90% of the new pay system weighted towards football and men's basketball, something has to give. If Illinois can't significantly expand its athletic budget, some sports might face reduced roster sizes, limited travel, or fewer scholarships. Take Mike Small's men's golf team, for example, a perennial powerhouse. Will it still get the same funding and attention from when millions are being rerouted to pay offensive linemen and shooting guards? Or what about wrestling, which has quietly developed Olympic-level talent? These teams might survive, but the margin of error just got razor thin. This is where strong athletic leadership is going to matter more than ever. And of course, we can't ignore the Title IX angle. Even though direct payments are expected to favor football and men's basketball, schools are still on the hook for federal gender equity compliance. That means Illinois will have to demonstrate proportional support across men's and women's sports. Not necessarily dollar for dollar, but opportunities, facilities, and resources must remain equitable. This opens a door for lawsuits if schools aren't careful, and Illinois isn't immune to that. Remember, this isn't just a Big Ten issue, it's a federal compliance issue. If one program files a Title IX complaint, it could ripple through the entire department. So where does this leave the Illini? In one word, challenged. In another, positioned. Brad Underwood has embraced the future with an aggressive international recruiting strategy. Brad Bielema has shown he can develop talent at a high level. And Illinois fans have proven they'll show up. They'll buy merch and support success when it's built the right way. But navigating this new landscape is going to require more than just X's and O's. And it's going to take financial strategy, legal savvy, compliance infrastructure, and leadership at every level of the athletic department. This is no longer simply just about winning games. It's about building a sustainable sports enterprise, one that rewards athletes fairly, protects the broader athletic ecosystem, and keeps Illinois competitive at the highest level. The clock is ticking. July 1 is right around the corner. Let's hope that the Illini are ready. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and share this with any Illini fans, friends in your life, and you can really help this community grow. Speaking of community, please click on the link in the description to our Discord. Our Talk Illini Discord has over 300 other Illini fans talking every single day about whatever the latest NCAA football recruiting, NCAA basketball recruiting, the new schedule as it seems to trickle out. It's a way for you to not bother your non-Illini fan friends in your life, for you to join a community. So if that's something you're interested in, I'm very proud. Arguably, that's probably the thing I'm most proud about since I started this show. So we would love to have you in there. A couple notes before I wrap up this episode. Charles Lee Isbell Jr. was officially introduced as the 11th Chancellor of the University of Illinois. So I wanted to welcome Chancellor Isbell to the family. Also wanted to mention a special happy birthday to longtime Champaign-Urbana artist Jack Davis. Now, you may not know who Jack Davis is, but 4 decades ago, he was the creator of the circular orange and blue Chief Illini WEC logo. Look, I'm of the school of thought right now where I'm beyond the Chief. It doesn't really make sense to me to bring it back. But at the same time, I can also say, in my opinion, that was one of the most incredible logos that has ever existed in sports or whatever history. So happy birthday to Jack Davis. Also wanted to mention the Minnesota Timberwolves tweeted out that Terrence Shannon Jr. joined Stephon Marbury as the only Wolves rookie with multiple 10-plus point playoff games. So congratulations to Terrence Shannon Jr. Again, hopefully he's going to have a bigger opportunity on next year's Minnesota Timberwolves roster. Before I ended today's episode, I did want to address one of the comments from Monday's episode where I talked about the new travel ban and the travel restrictions that were possibly being incorporated. Johnny Rep 7328 left a comment saying, "Sonny, I heard you say you were keeping politics out of this discussion, but using the term regime is not neutral." Now, Johnny, I want to be completely honest with you. When I used the word, as soon as I saw your comment, I did want to give it the proper attention, and I went directly to Google because the way I used it was, or at least when I said it, for me, it was just a type of government. And just to let you know and let the listeners know, Merriam-Webster defines a regime simply as a form of government. Now, the Oxford English Dictionary defines it as a government, especially an authoritarian one. And so you are half right. Again, I'm here to acknowledge that because I was very clear, and I want to continue to make it very, very clear that Monday's episode was not political in any sort of way. I don't have an opinion one way or the other on whatever restrictions might happen. It was simply me. It was the most requested topic for almost over a week now. And so it's something for me to address because, again, you can all feel free to email me at talkillini@gmail.com. If there's a certain topic you want me to tackle, something you have on your mind, find me on all your favorite social medias. You can find me at DSunnyV or Locked On Illini on your favorite socials. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the discourse I have with this community each and every day. And for the past week, everyone was talking about this this ban and restrictions. And so they were more so curious. And this is why I really tried to make sure to keep the topic focused on how it could affect Illini basketball. But Johnny, I noticed your comment. And so I wanted to give you the proper respect to let you know that in my brain, when I said the word, it was Merriam-Webster's definition, which is simply a form of government. And so I see what you're saying with the Oxford English Dictionary, but I just want to let you know that was, if anything, an innocent mistake, but not an intentional one in any sort of matter. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Again, we'll be talking the 2 new football commitments on tomorrow's episode. Until then, ILL. Love you guys.